Rei is fast as lightning, so it makes sense to hit those legs, particularly the calf, to make it difficult to walk and obviously to move, slowing down the fight. Good job, Saw Paing. What is up? I am Chad Vázquez, the head owner and coach of Paxibellum Martial Arts in New York City. If you're ever in town, come try a class with us.
And I'm Pac. I'm a Judo black belt with a background in wrestling and boxing.
And today is a special day. Pac, do you know why?
It's a Kengan Ashura breakdown.
Yes, it is. We are breaking down a fight between Saw Paing versus Rei Mikazuchi. So Saw Paing is a Laoway fighter who is fighting for his hometown, the village of Dawn. And Rei is a mysterious martial artist who's fighting for love.
What a simp. Love makes the heart weak.
Okay. Rei is using a fictional martial arts style referred to as lightning spirit style.
Not only are we gonna react, but we're gonna demonstrate what they could have done better using our vast fighting experience.
So make sure to subscribe, share, and watch the very end to see our final grade on how realistic these techniques were used in this fight scene. Pac, are you ready?
Let's get it.
Let's get it.
Let's rock! Begin!
Bam! Lands the first punch. You could immediately see the speed difference.
Yeah. Actually, the nickname for Rei is the Lightning God due to his speed, the style.
Hey, what's Rei doing? He kind of moves like the Flash.
That's referred to as an illusion step from his lightning spirit style. And that's just Saw Paing screaming.
Ooh, spinal. Does that work on Saw Paing?
No, for two reasons. One, Saw Paing actually has worked on breaking every bone in his body. And as you know in real life, bones that heal get stronger. So this guy is solid with like strong, dense bones and obviously muscle. So that's like, this guy's armored. That's one. Two, Rei's style is meant for really weapons work or you know, he's an assassin. So that's why his attacks, his movement makes more sense when you see a weapon involved rather than hand to hand.
Oh, that makes sense. The illusion step is like flanking as well.
Right, getting behind them, stabbing, boom. That's your target, you hit and you go, you bounce.
Makes total sense.
Prison style, baby, prison style. Okay, hits from Rei. So far, Rei's winning exchange, man. Rei's fast. He's circling, getting the first strike. Saw Paing is missing every hit here and getting hit. So Saw Paing is tired and he's trying to bait Rei to hitting him so he can counterattack. So we'll see tactically how he uses this. Oh, and there we go. Saw Paing now is dodging Rei's shots. He's kind of collecting data off those strikes, which is, you do see real combat sport athletes do in their fights. And here it comes. Burmese Iron Hammer. Dude.
He's got a big head.
Yo, put a dent to that floor.
It also looks like his specialty.
Yes, which represents his style, the combat sport of Laoway, which does allow headbutts. Makes it very different from a similar combat sport like, say, like Muay Thai. Looks similar, but they don't have headbutts in it.
How many brain cells do you have left after that?
2.5.
Maybe 2.
He almost landed that. I let myself get lured in too close.
All right, man. Both fighters are tired.
Could tell Rei's making an adjustment now. He's intimidated. He must have been intimidated by the power.
Dude, word, yo. I don't know what to do if someone broke the floor with his head. So Rei's using a combo referred to as heat haze, which throws up rapid punches.
That's a legit block, an elbow destruction.
Yeah, and what's real is that bruising, man.
That's right. Yo, Chad, why is his fingers like that?
Yeah. So, okay, so in his technique, referred to as heat haze, we see now in the scene, fingers kind of sticking out like so to hit certain pressure points on the head here. Right. But you and I both know that's an easy way of breaking your hand.
Absolutely.
Let's break this down and go over how to actually punch when you don't have gloves.
I always wear protection.
How do you throw strikes when you have no gloves? I'll do a few reps here and I'm gonna explain what's going on technique-wise. Well, when you hear bare knuckle boxers talk about how to punch in their sport, they explain that you really have to clinch like so to not break your hand. When I was taught striking with gloves here, we're taught to have relaxed hands. So before you hit your target, you make a fist the last second before you make contact. Now, in case you mess up, there's a glove. So the chance of you break your hand, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, is not as high if there wasn't a glove there. But bare knuckles, you wanna make sure you're automatically clenched, because if you are late in your timing on closing that fist when throwing a punch, the probability of you breaking your hand is high. So I clinch early and I keep it clinched when I throw my strikes. Now, hooks. We could make a fist. That's fine. But again, what's the concern? Us breaking our hands. If you haven't seen a sport called power slap, you'll be surprised on what a smack in a well-placed area can do. So, in there, I'm making strong connections. I'm trying to clinch my fingers like so. So when I do connect, again, I'm not loose where I can hurt my wrist, I hurt my hand. I keep it somewhat clenched here so there's good connection. Another good trick here. What's cool about smacks is this. If he blocks, smacks can be used for pulling down hands. This opens up techniques like elbows or another strike. So that's the cool thing about smacking. They are great for striking, but at any point, they can be turned into a grappling grip to open up other attacks, whether it's striking or grappling techniques. And that would have been a more realistic approach for Rei to attack Saw Paing. Okay, so now we're going to leg kicks, bruising on Rei's
Calf, yeah.
calf there, yep.
So one thing about Saw Paing's style that I'm noticing is that even when you block his hits, it's extremely painful. It looks like he's about to hit him with the Burmese Iron Hammer.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, but Rei hits him with his own headbutt.
Cuts him off. Okay, I like the angle in which they show Rei cutting off Saw Paing. Let's actually break this down and have a quick discussion on how headbutts are tactically used in hand-to-hand combat. So now, we saw that Rei beat Saw Paing in a headbutt exchange. So what happened here? When Saw Paing was launching his headbutt attack, Rei level changed and cut him off by hitting up in the jaw. It reminds me of a really cool tactic that can be used in a real hand-to-hand combat scenario. Now, I must say this. Combat is complicated and techniques are not perfect. They have flaws, they have strengths, they have weaknesses. The weakness of a headbutt is that when you're using your own head, you are taking a chance on rattling your own brain when doing so. So you can make yourself dizzy or possibly knock yourself out. But with Rei's setup, it reminds me of what you do see sometimes in mixed martial arts by accident, where fighters go for a leg tackle, but in riding up, boom, hit the head. That's actually a fair tactic to use on purpose in a real hand-to-hand fight scenario. So for example, if we're gonna set up a headbutt, one grappling way of doing it is in combat here, as we're striking, we threaten a leg tackle. Maybe I make contact, but of course, someone trained will be moving hips and knees away from me. As I ride up, I can always come up to the jaw, getting a good, clean shot. In a similar way, Rei did not necessarily grab the legs, but he level changed and came up the same angle using a similar tactic to cut off Saw Paing's headbutt. In Saw Paing's case, why could he not land his headbutt? Rei is faster than him. That's a fact. Never follow the speed of someone who's faster than you. You'll never win. Slow the fight down. Saw Paing needs grappling to some extent. We can probably apply underhooks, overhooks, or some form of head control. Head control. From these grips, we can make our opponent carry our body weight. In this case, Saw Paing making Rei carry his body weight. So, one perfect example. In overhook, I have a free hand that can control the firearm, or at times make space and block his head. I have space now to set up and launch a headbutt. What's great about this setup is this angle I have right to the jaw there. There's a nice little knockout button there that if my forehead can make contact with some good momentum, we can possibly drop this guy. Tactics like this would have helped Saw Paing fighting a much faster Rei.
We don't cover headbutts enough in this channel, but let me tell you, I absolutely love headbutts, and when I was in college, I witnessed a street altercation and I saw the most brilliant self-defense move ever. Oftentimes, we've all seen this scenario. Two guys square up, popping off at each other, and this other guy just, without warning, headbutt the other guy in the nose and the mouth. Blood was leaking everywhere, and he followed it up with a two-piece, knocking the other guy out, and I thought, oh my God, that was awesome. I'm copying that if I ever need to.
So, you know what? Moral of the story is that whenever you're in an argument with someone, do not let them argue with you face to face. Always create distance, set a boundary. If that person's trying to approach you, you send a warning. Do not come near me. If they ignore that, the fight's on.
Control the distance, control the outcome.
Lightning spirit style.
All right, you punch fast enough, Japanese letters are gonna just start popping out.
Yep, and that is brutal lightning he's using now.
Yeah, and you see the brain. I really like the brain shifting inside the skull and how they animated that.
Which is real. I mean, actually that happens in real life.
That's how you got concussed.
Yeah, that brain just shake.
More flurries.
Oof, nice elbow. Okay, cool. So you know what's really cool about the elbow that was thrown by Saw Paing and the effects they show about that cut? That's real life. Elbows, and even knuckles, but let's say elbows right now, are very powerful cutting tools. Let's do a little breakdown on how elbows are applied in hand-to-hand combat. We see he throws an elbow as a counter strike, which cuts Rei just above the eye. And that's a real thing. Elbows do cut. I actually have some scars myself from being elbowed in the knee in some of my mixed martial arts fights, so it's a real thing. Now, as Rei is gliding up Saw Paing's face, in one of the strikes, the jaw is being turned and an elbow is coming right over that punch. It makes sense if you think about it structurally. If the chin is already being moved a certain direction, that means the shoulder and elbow can easily rotate with the strike. And in fact, you see boxers getting hit and countering with the same side punch due to the same mechanical reasons. Furthermore, to tie in to how we were discussing earlier, smacks are a great way to apply and pull down for those strikes. Sometimes when fighters are really tight to each other and throwing punches and they're holding very tight guards, there's openings where I use hooks to open up a tight upward elbow. So you see, elbows come in different angles and there's different setups, whether you use a punch elbow setup or with some grappling where your hands get involved to lower guard. So I must say, great use of elbow demonstrated by Saw Paing. Okay, so Saw Paing is pulling close guard here. Now, before in the comment section you guys say, hey, yo, pause. Let's break down what's going on here. It is a natural reaction by people, even untrained people, when they're fighting to grab and hold to not get punched. So let's break down why Saw Paing's doing this and what his goals are tactically. Saw Paing pulls a closed guard. What is that? It's when I'm on the bottom, I wrap my legs around the waist. This is to help control my opponent's hips so they cannot stand up and posture so easily. It's also a great way of managing punches. Now, we see the fighters having their arms like so. Rei is using a framing arm to keep Saw Paing away from him. He's also trying to use his arm to maintain space, which allows him to throw punches to the face. Saw Paing's controlling punches with an arm inside like so, and the other arm on the neck. Now, Saw Paing tries to go from this control to launching elbows, which eventually leads to him losing the position. If he had some more grappling training, he could apply what's called a side scissor. From here, he could attack the arm that's framing, putting his defense arm to grab the elbow, pulling it across and shrimping out to cross his legs on the far hip. My top hand will grab the lat muscle. And like you're seeing here, this position is called a side scissor. It's a type of closed guard. From here, I could launch elbow attacks, or I can climb to the back, like this. From here, he could get a far underhook and let go of the floor to start launching elbows. If he had any more grappling experience, he could reverse his opponent to a back mount to launch a strangle, something like this, putting an arm behind the neck and using a power Nelson to reverse his opponent and to expose the neck for strangles, ending the fight.
He pulled away! Did he slip on something? No! He's creating distance!
So Saw Paing does a flying knee, which, okay, makes sense. He's trying to cover the distance, and he follows up with leg kicks. This is very smart. Let's break this down and explain why he's using both of these attacks. We see Saw Paing using 2 flying knees in this fight. The first one is used to set up grips on the arms on Rei to launch a headbutt. The one I want to focus on is the flying knee used to just simply cover distance and move into another attack. Base mechanical form, the lead leg can be used to take that first step. You may notice how my head goes over that knee. This makes my right leg light. The right leg is the leg I'm going to use to hit my partner with. So here we go. So you saw in my jump there, again, a light example, how I'm covering distance while attacking. Okay, remember, combat's complicated and techniques are not perfect. Yes, I'm covering distance. Yes, it's my body weight. Yes, I can do damage. But I am exposing myself. We do see examples that say in mixed martial arts of fighters getting knocked out while jumping at their opponents. However, Saw Paing quickly changes tactics. He uses the flying knee to cover distance and then starts going to leg kicks, which is very smart. Leg kicks, when they add up, slow down very mobile fighters, which Rei is. Now, what we'll do is we'll demonstrate a basic leg kick and show you a subcategory of leg kick that Saw Paing was doing in this fight. Just watch. Now you may notice my basic leg kick, in which most coaches consider a leg kick, is attacking the thigh. Going very slow, like so. However, we do see, based on bruising on Rei, that Saw Paing was hitting the calf. The calf kick is a subcategory of leg kick. We'll show a few reps now on how I'll kick my partner, but with the pad focusing on calf kicks. There are 3 interesting advantages to a calf kick. Number 1, it is a little bit tricky for your opponent to read the body language of a calf kick. When I'm launching a kick to the thigh, for example, you'll usually see a knee lifting. That motion goes right into a thigh kick, whether it's in front of me or out wide for more power. The knee must come up to a certain degree. For a calf kick, it doesn't have to come up that much. You can see from here, it is way lower. And so it's trickier on the eyes, especially when you use footwork. Number 2, they are harder to defend. If I was to kick the thigh, my partner can easily check it if seen, right? But a calf kick goes around the shin. I've definitely seen it when an opponent tries to check, but he still gets caught. We'll do a light example right now. As my partner tries to check my kick, I can still go around it, sorry. My bad. So if my partner tries to check it and I have good footwork, I can still hit the side of the calf, which is hard to defend with checking. And third, it hits a nerve behind the calf that makes it extremely painful to walk. We saw an example of this in a UFC fight between Dustin Poirier versus Conor McGregor, where Dustin had Conor just limping on that leg after a few calf kicks. And it tactically makes sense for Saw Paing to do this against Rei. Rei is fast as lightning. So it makes sense to hit those legs, particularly the calf, to make it difficult to walk and obviously to move, slowing down the fight. Good job, Saw Paing.
He refuses to back off.
Saw Paing's just kicking the crap out of Rei on his legs there.
Yeah, they're really sharing brutal kicks. All right, he's setting up a downward
Here we
elbow.
go. Boom.
Who won that exchange?
All right, I'm not gonna lie, that pose is fire. Looks pretty cool, but not the most realistic punch. But, yo, gets the job done. Rei wins.
Ooh, sorry, Village of Dawn.
Yeah, those poor kids.
All right, chat, what'd you think about this fight?
So Rei's lightning spirit style, which is completely fictional, I'd never heard that style in real life, pulls back the realism of this fight compared to other Kengan Ashura matches that we've broken down. Therefore, my grade for it is a B-.
I think that's very fair.
Don't get me wrong, it's completely entertaining. It's a great fight scene, but again, if we're judging by its realism and its technique, B- is fair.
Totally agree with you, Chad, but wait. You didn't think you'd get away with me missing that judo throw by Rei on Saw Paing.
I was hoping we actually skipped that, but here we go. Let's do it.
Rei just got cut by an elbow by Saw Paing, and Saw Paing's loading up for another elbow. You see Rei sidestep, post here, hook Saw Paing's inside leg, and take him down. Honestly, I don't see how that works. There's no upper body connection in a meaningful way where I can steer my opponent's weight. What Rei should have done to make it more realistic is this. Again, same thing, sidestep. Instead of posting here, I'm gonna shoot my arm through, get it head and arm control like so, almost like a katagatame, sidestep, hit in a soto guard, and from here, I can really overwhelm my opponent with the brutal lightning.